Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, and welcome to my reaction to Doctor Who Redacted episodes 8 and 9. Ghosts, which I called that title, and Rescue. So, these are the third and second to last episodes of the series, which means next week the series will conclude with episode 10, title of which to be announced. I think each episode's title, I haven't really caught up with any news about it, but I think each episode's title is just released whenever each episode's dropped, or released, I should say. But Ghosts I called because of the cliffhanger and the ending of episode 7. So, Ghosts, and the 8th episode. Honestly, this episode feels like filler. It's probably the scariest episode of the series, even more so than Angels. But it's honestly just filler for me. It's good filler, but it does feel like filler. It's stuff that you could merge episodes 7 and 8 together, and you probably just have the same. Just make it half an hour long, and you probably still have the same kind of gist with it. As basically what happens in this episode is Shauna and Cleo go back to the Powell estate where Cleo's mum lives. Yeah, reference to Rose Tyler. With the Powell estate. They go back there to try and find her because something seems to be going on, even though Cleo's mum's a bit of a piece of work. Um, Cleo still considers her family, so she goes to try and see what's going on. And as it turns out, the ghosts are starting to become more prominent around everywhere. The ghosts that Abby found, and they're trying to do. They're trying to do. The ghosts are just happening to be around, and so forth. And Cleo and Shauna are starting to get scared by them, and eventually they discover that the ghosts, as we'll find out in episode 9, the ghosts are people between Earth and another world. But with the episode Ghosts, it does feel like it's just Shauna and Cleo. They're just kind of. They're not really doing much in this episode. They go to the Powell estate and they get trapped in the cafe for a bit, and then. And yeah, it's odd that despite Cleo's mum being a piece of hard work, Cleo's still concerned about her, but they still stop off at a cafe for a snack or something. I was like, okay, I know Cleo. When listening, I was like, Cleo, I know your mum's a bit of a hard work, but if you care about her, you should make sure you check up on her, and not possibly let something bad happen to them by just popping down to the cafe for a snack or a drink. I mean, even not so nice people have to be checked up on every now and again if you actually care about them, and if you're really worried about them, you don't dawdle off to a cafe for 5 minutes. I mean, as far as you're aware, you could, if the emergency services did that, they could be 5 minutes late to a rescue, and that could ultimately mean life or death or something for a person. I know Cleo's mum's a bit of a piece of hard work, but that's no excuse to go down to the cafe for 5 minutes if you honestly genuinely care about her, and if you worry she's in danger. Don't let her be in danger then. As it turns out, my concerns about that were well founded, as Cleo's mum is now a ghost. Told you not to go to that bloody cafe for 5 minutes. Although, admittedly, that could have happened sooner. But how would I know? How would I know? And what would happen? What would have happened sooner or later if they hadn't gone to that cafe? Oh well. So, anyway, okay. But yeah, besides that, and the fact that Madame Vastra turns up and is revealed she's Requiem. Okay, so I got the theory of Requiem being the villain wrong. I got that wrong. Okay. So Requiem turns out to be Madame Vastra. Madame Vastra saves the two girls. And that ends episode 8. By the way, episodes 8 and 9, I like how that they recap some of the events of the previous episodes, tying it into it. I mean, some of the other episodes did that as well, but it feels like a real starter tie-in with the episode, working really well with that. Small catch-up, but also tying it into the episode. But yeah, episode 8 just feels like filler. Fun, scary, and does move some chess pieces forward. But I think you could have merged episodes 7 and 8 together and you'd still get something pretty solid. But that's it, is episode 8. I don't know if I'd say it's the weakest episode. I think it was actually one pretty fun episode, pretty good one. But I do think it's probably at least one of the more fillery episodes of the series. If this was like first half of the series, I'd understand, because that's the first half of the series. I'd be more forgiving to filler episodes in the first half. Like Angels is a bit of a filler episode in a way. But with this one, we're so close to the end. We're so close to finding out what's going on, what the heck's happening, and we just have kind of a episode that could have been merged with another one, and it just doesn't quite. I don't know. I think this one just kind of wastes a bit of time. Though one thing it doesn't waste time on is the characters. That is probably the saving grace of that, as it's Sorry, I was just checking something. As it's the Oh, shut up, dog. As it's basically just Cleo and Shauna talking and interacting with each other and being quite close friends and all so forth, and some good interactions with them, quite fun stuff, etc. As the two are on their own together, up against everything until Madame Vastra comes back to save them. So some good character stuff in this episode, but overall, this episode probably feels the most fillery of all the episodes, at the very least since the middle of the first half, so about episode 2, 3, 4 wise. It definitely feels one of, if not the most fillery episode of this series, which is a disappointment considering we're almost at the end. But it's still quite a fun, enjoyable episode. Some great scary moments with the ghosts and some great character stuff with Cleo and Shauna. So it's still a good episode. It just feels, plot-wise, quite fillery, and it could honestly have been halved and put onto the end of episode 7. And maybe episode 7 could have been a little bit reduced as well. But overall, I thought Ghosts, despite being a filler episode, was still a pretty fun one. Episode 9, Rescued. This one puts things back on track in terms of a plot, as Cleo, Vastra, and Shauna are now running from the ghosts again, but there's a bit more of a sense of urgency as they're trying to get somewhere now. Abby also turns up with units to help out, and she rejoins the group, and they eventually find the Oracle, Vastra's Oracle, which is in the words of Cleo, a super old space. Well, not in the exact words, but basically a poo. At least that's what she's implying. It's in the shape of a poo, and it's a super old being from another world, and it's this world apparently that the humans are transitioning over to, that can't sustain everything, and apparently the Doctor's the cause of all of this. Not sure exactly how. We've got one more episode to find out. We've got one more episode to wrap this up. So hopefully they won't do a Chris Chibnall and botch it on the final episode. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris, but yeah, the series finales of your 3 series haven't exactly been the most satisfying. Even the last one, which I liked, but yeah, it was yeah. Well, hopefully this episode will at least land this unofficial 4th series for Jodie Whittaker on a bit more of a stronger note. And I'm also holding out for that centenary special as well, but we'll see how that goes. But in terms of the series, this episode actually does work pretty well in terms of continuing what we saw last time and kind of moving this forward, trying to get pieces in play for the finale. We still need quite a few answers from this series, so I'm holding out for that series finale delivering, or at the very least answering. But things are starting to kind of shift into play for the last episode in this one, and it does that pretty well. The cliffhanger is one of the strongest of the series, where one of the 3 girls, I won't say who exactly, but spoiler alert, it's one of the ones it's the one we focus on the most in this series. And if you've listened to this series or watched some of my previous reactions, you'll know which character I'm talking about. But said character ends up getting trapped, separated from the other 2 in Vastra and the Oracle. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting cliffhanger as will lead into next week. The girls are going to be separated once more, this time by force rather than choice, like we saw at the end of episode 6. But we'll see how that entails and how that goes down. Again, I think it is going to be one more episode, episode 10. They said 10 episodes, not including the introduction episode, mini episode, I suppose. So it'll be, besides the introduction minisode, unofficial episodes, I guess episode 0. It's a 10 episode series. So next week is the last one. We have one more go around to wrap things up. And I've got some questions like, who is that robotic transformer type person as described by Cleo, as we saw at the end of episodes 2 and start of 3? How are these characters being taken out of time / forgotten about? What's causing the ghosts? What was the whole business with the angels? Like, they may not have explained that, but I'm not entirely sure. What's going on with the Doctor? What's this whole thing about the Doctor being the epicenter of the redaction, the black hole, etc., etc.? What happened to cause all of this? We really need to find. What was that? Stupid bird, probably. Oh no, some kids. As I was saying, we really need to find out all of this next episode. We have one more episode left, presumably, unless they've got more on the way. But I think it's the last one. We've got one more. We got to wrap this up. We got a series finale. This not only series finale. Not like we're never going to come back to these characters. We might later down the line another series, but we're going to act like this is going to be the end of it. So we've got to wrap this all up. Some kids somewhere. Anyway, so. But yeah, in overall, episodes 8 and 9 were fun, enjoyable, and pretty good. But 8 just felt like filler besides the character stuff and moving pieces into play. 9 felt more so like moving pieces into play, but there was a bit more importance to what was going on in the story, and it's now starting to set up what's going to happen next episode in the finale, title of which is yet to be announced. That kid's being really noisy all of a sudden. For some reason. But anyway, so that's Doctor Who Redacted episodes 8 and 9, Ghosts, which I'm still proud of calling that title, even though I got the Requiem reveal incorrect, and Rescue. Oh, speaking of Requiem and Madame Vastra, they've recast Madame Vastra as one of the characters who's been recast, like Penny and Dr. Morganson earlier in the series. But in this case, the actress doesn't actually sound like Vastra, which is good for the bits in Requiem where they were being this person called Requiem. But when they're as Vastra in this episode and in these 2 episodes, they don't sound like Vastra. They actually sound more like Leela, if she was pissed off and bored at the same time. Bored and pissed off, which is nothing against the actress. But she's probably trying to do a good impression, trying to impersonate Vastra or try to match her mannerisms. But she doesn't bring the same charm as Neve McIntosh did in the character. There was that charm with Vastra when McIntosh played the character. This actress, she's got the more grumpy side down to the character. But I feel like we're missing some sort of charm or wit with the character that we used to have. Even if it was character progression and it's a long time, this is a long time since we last saw her or all that stuff, it still lacks something when it's not with the original actress. And they got some of the other original actresses in for these series with Rani, Osgood, and Kate Stewart. We've got the original actor and the 13th Doctor. But with Vastra being recast and not being much like how they were in the TV series, or some of the other expanded media stuff, it does make them sound like they're a different character. They sound, like I said, to me, they sounded more like a pissed off and also at the same time bored Leela rather than Madame Vastra, if she was pissed off and bored. That's just me though. That's just how it just came across more like it felt like a different character, not from the writing but from the performance. And I don't know whether it's just not, maybe they didn't quite get the right they didn't quite match the impression, or maybe they just I don't know. It just sounds like a different character for some reason. At the very least, maybe if they put on an Irish accent, that might have done something for me. But I don't know. It just felt like it was a completely different character, or sounded like another character I know, but slightly more bored and pissed off. Which I know that Leela can be sometimes. So, hey. But yeah, it sounded more like Leela than Madame Vastra. So I'm not sure what happened there. No criticism, but it does feel a bit strange for me. Okay, so that's really about it for this discussion of these two episodes. For the first time viewing or listening episodes and collecting the thoughts immediately after, or almost immediately after. Right, thank you for listening and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for episode 10, as yet to be announced. Titled yeah, as yet to be announced. Slight update about that. I will be on holiday when the episode is released, so I might be able to listen to it then. I'm not entirely guaranteed if I will be able to do a reaction though. You might have to wait until the week after. So another 2 week wait for just the one episode. Maybe a series recap as well in the same video to make, if that's the case, to make up for it. Or otherwise, I might be able to do the reaction to the episode, but maybe do a series recap later on down the line, or at least the week after. As for potential full reviews, we'll see how it goes. I didn't get to do those for Daleks. I did reactions, but not the reviews. So that's something that's long overdue. So the same could be said for this, but we'll see how it goes in time. But I definitely will be reacting to episode 10. If it won't be next week after the episode airs, sometime next week, whilst I'm on holiday, it will be it'll be around 2 weeks' time, around maybe at the time of what would have been episode 11's release. Had there been if there was to be an episode 11, that around that episode's release, there won't be, but you know what I mean. Where I discuss episode 10 and then the series overview. Overall, maybe do that in the episode 10 reaction if I did record that whilst on holiday, or separate video maybe, but we'll see how it goes. But that's just the update of where the redacted reaction for episode 10 and a possible series overview will stand. So it will either be next week or it'll be the week after, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Or one will be next week, the one will be the other, if they're not the same video and they're not done at the same time. Okay, so anyway, thank you once again for watching this reaction. I'll see you guys next time for episode 10's reaction. Until then, goodbye.